Alright, so now we are going to see modules and pip in this video. What exactly is a Python module? Let me show you with an example. Now, most of the code that we wrote so far was code written by us. Now, is there any other way to write code? Well, yes, you can import other people's code. And that's exactly what module means. Sometimes we don't want to reinvent the wheel. We want to leverage somebody else's code written by somebody else to assist programmers so that they can solve bigger problem. For example, you will not write a function that sums two numbers or maybe find an average or maybe do some basic mathematical operations. You would want some library to do that for you, because you are there to solve a bigger problem and not reinvent the wheel. These are the problems that have been solved and are too basic. What does that mean? Let's see all these things in action. So we can import modules in Pythons, and importing a module means we are using somebody else's code. Let's create a new file called 05_modules.py, and what we'll do is we'll simply write an import keyword. Now, import is a keyword in Python that helps us import somebody else's code. Let's say I write import here, and then I can write name of a module like math, and math will be imported. Now, if I say import math, math is a built-in module in Python, and I can use some functions that are already written in the math module. I can write math.sqrt and I can write a number, and this will help me square root a number. Now, math is the name of the module, and dot simply means that I want to use a function from this module, and sqrt is the name of that function. Now, if I run this program, you will see 4 printed on the screen. And this happened because sqrt is already written by somebody else, and I don't have to see that function because I am using a library. Now, where do we get all these libraries and how can we use somebody else's code is something that we'll explore. But let's first understand that there are two types of modules in Python. One is external module and one is built-in module. So two types of modules in Python, internal modules, also known as built-in modules. So two types of modules in Python. The first one is built-in modules, and the other one is external modules. We already saw built-in modules. We saw an example of math module. We'll now see external modules. How do we use external modules? Well, external modules can either be written by us or they can also be installed using a utility called pip. Let me show it to you in action. But let's see how many other built-in modules are there. Built-in modules. We have math, and then we have a lot of other built-in modules like OS. There are tons of modules, and you can see the list of built-in modules in Python from Python docs. Just make this Google search and you will land on this page, and this page basically tells you how many built-in modules are present in Python, and they keeps on changing with versions, but for now there are some of the modules that are always there and that are mostly used. Okay, so these built-in modules are really very helpful when it comes to writing basic programs. You will use a lot of OS module, you'll use a lot of math module, JSON is one, and then there are a lot of modules that you will use, and it depends on the use case. Okay, so this is a list, and you don't have to remember the name of these modules, nor you have to know every function in every module. That's something that a Python programmer keeps on exploring throughout his life. You will find new modules, you will write modules maybe in the future, but for now, you just have to remember that Python module index is something where you can come and see the comprehensive list of modules. So let me do one thing. Let me put this in the program so that you can always access this link. And this is a list of all built-in modules. Let me write it down. List of all the built-in modules. Okay. All right. So math is one example. Then we have another example called OS. OS is another one. And then math.sqrt. Did you see the color of this OS is different from color of math? If I zoom in, you will notice this. This is slightly blurred. This is yellow and this is slightly blurred. And it is blurred because that's an indication that OS module is not used. So you have imported a module, but you did not use it. And you want to use it maybe because you have imported it. But if I use a function from OS, Let's say I use a function called abort, the color changes. So if you have unused modules in your files, Python tells you that, hey, you have unused modules in your file and you might want to get rid of those. So this is something that VS Code helps us with. Now let's talk about creating our own module. We can always create our own module. So let's say I have a file called mymodule.py. This is a module that I've created, and I'll simply define a function called hello inside this, and I'll simply print hello world. It's a very basic function. And if I run this program, you'll see that nothing happens in this program. Okay, but if I simply import this function to this file, I can always do that. I can say import my module, and I can always now use hello function from my module. Let's see if I can do that. So I'll say my module dot, and did you see that this IDE automatically scans for all the functions in my module, and it's giving me a suggestion that, hey, do you want to use this function which you have already written? And I'm like, yeah, I do want to use this function. So let's run this, and you'll see hello world printed on the screen. This is a very basic way of writing your own module, but there is another way to package your module so that it can be installed using pip. We are going to study that later, but for now we have understood that we can always write our own module and we can import functions from these modules. Okay, that's awesome, amazing so far, awesome. So we can always import in another file. We can do something like this. And now let's talk about external modules. Now external modules can always be installed using pip. So if you open your terminal and you type pip install requests, and if you press enter, it says that you may have Python installed into your global environment, which can cause conflicts. Do you want to create a virtual environment? So I got a warning which I can safely ignore for now, because we are going to understand what virtual environments are in the future videos. So you can see pip has installed request for me. So request module has been installed. Awesome. So now that request module has been installed, I can import this. So I can say import request. But where is request.py? Where is that file? Where exactly is this file? So this file has been saved by Python installer behind the scenes, and it automatically works on importing this file for me. So as I can see the mymodule.file, it's there right here, but this is the file that I'm not seeing, but it exists. Request.py exists. Okay, this file will exist for sure, but for now we don't have to see it. Now I can use functions from request library, like request.get is a function. You can always pass URL to this function to get the HTML from a document. So if I say r is equal to request.get, and I can say something like https www.google.com. So request is a module which is used to fetch the HTML of online pages. I can do something like print r.text, and it will show me the HTML in text. Now if I run this program, you'll see this in action, and as you can see, the HTML code of google.com is fetched. Okay, so you can always fetch HTML code of any website using request module. And if you want to learn more about request module, you can always search for request module. Now there are a lot of external modules in Python, and you can find them, and you can search their documentation for specific functions. You can always do all those things. Okay, so this is how you can install this module, and this is the documentation of this module. And there is a website as well, which basically is a documentation of this module. Very easy and straightforward. It also shows us the list of all the properties and methods that we can use. Now text is not a method, it's a property. So r.text can be accessed to get the HTML. We are going to learn all these things in great detail. So for now, just understand that request is an external module that we installed using pip, and we can use functions like get, post from request. And if you don't know how request module works, that's totally fine. There are a lot of modules that I don't know about, and I don't have to know about because I don't work with those libraries. You always look for libraries that you work with, and you always learn the functions of the libraries that you are going to be using. Okay, so I hope that this is helpful and you understood what modules exactly are, the list of built-in modules, and how pip works. Now pip can be used to install any number of libraries. If I want to install another library, I can say pip install pandas. And since I already use pandas, maybe it's there, but since I've reinstalled my Python, it's downloading. It will download pandas, and then it will also download NumPy, which is a dependency. Now, sometimes a module is internally using another module, which is internally using another module, and so on. So in that case, it will download all the dependency. By dependency, we mean all the list of modules that our module is going to use. So pandas can use NumPy, NumPy can use CPython, CPython can use module 2 can use module 3, and so on. So all the modules needs to be installed, and this is why all these modules are being installed. 6 is being installed. It has collected all these packages which are being installed. Python dateutil is being installed, NumPy is being installed, 6 is being installed, tzdata is being installed, pytz is being installed. All these packages are being installed because pandas somehow directly or indirectly depends on these packages. Did you see that? It has successfully installed NumPy, pandas, and it is also showing me specific versions of these packages because these packages keeps on updating and making minor changes to make it basically better. Okay, they are always evolving, and they are basically trying to solve one single problem, which is making developers' life easier. So yeah, you'll keep on seeing updates, minor ones, and in the long time frame, say 5 to 10 years, you are also going to see major updates. But yeah, for now, Python is pretty stable. So yeah, we can definitely learn it, and whenever it gets updated, and once you complete this course, you become pro, it'll be very easy for you to follow all the updates. Okay, now we'll move on to our next video, and we'll understand about function scope and iframe. So see you in the next video.